Yo, what is up? Welcome back to Ninja Geek Games. We're just about to start Mission 4 post-mortem of the Nemesis campaign. A brief recap of Mission 4. We managed to connect cables from the engine control room all the way to all three of the engines, whilst dodging a variety of intruders, including the Queen. Just before we jumped, we made a split decision to run and send the signal, head back to the hibernatorium and jump. Now, in the last ending we read, it appeared that people know we've gone missing 10 years ago, but we're completely unaware of that. And just before being able to jump, our ship was destroyed by nukes and all the characters died. Now, the intro to Mission 4 shows all the characters waking up, and it seems that our consciousness has been able to become implanted into sort of spare bodies, but we're unaware of any previous memories. So we're back on the first ship. I think it's called the Ariadne, the one that left us when we jumped onto the Nemesis. And the engines are completely destroyed with no way of being fixed. And the cockpit is out of action because it's been blocked off by locked doors. So for the setup, we need to reboot the systems using the generator master switch and find a way to escape. The intruder menace is very high, and our choices have a big impact on the epilogue of the story. For the characters, because we've resurrected, we stay with the same characters, but all of our items disappear, all of our conditions and wounds disappear, so we're basically starting again from scratch. We're using the reverse side of the board, which represents the Ariadne, and for the room tiles we have to place generator, surgery, airlock control onto the specific places, and event story 6 add-on activation on the generator. The cockpit is completely closed off, the story trigger marker in there, and this scenario doesn't use the hatch control rooms. You have to set that aside. And we set up the rest of the rooms and escape pods according to the standard rules, remembering that on this side of the board the evacuation tiles go on either side. Now, the only issue I had with this is that there is somewhere here a room 2 tile that has to be placed on a room 1 space, and I'm not sure how we prevent that. We haven't got enough tiles. Anyway, the exploration tokens go on every unexplored room. All characters start in the hibernatorium. The intruder board starts as it does in the base game, but only has 1 egg. And into the intruder bag we have 2 larvae, 4 adults, 1 creeper, 1 breeder and 1 blank token. Because we're playing a 2-player game, we start with an adult on the board, and you have to remove the escape pod ejection card from the event deck and then reshuffle it. And the time track token is placed on space 15. So we're ready to start Mission 4. Okay, not really sure what to do because the introduction didn't really give us that much information. I think the only thing that we can really do is head to the generator room and activate that story token. So the scientist is going to look to do that, and the scout's going to do some exploration. So the scientist will play interruption, head down this corridor, and we have the armory with a malfunction token. Needs to make a noise roll. No noise. It looks like my luck is following me. And for the second action, he's going to play a search. And we draw 2 red cards. And we've drawn energy charge and the prototype pistol. Now, the pistol lets you re-roll during combat, but it is a heavy item, and the scientist has a piece of personal equipment that I want to activate in the generator room. That is also a heavy item. So I will take the energy charge. So the scout is going to head the other way. She's going to play an adrenaline card. We found the cabins with another malfunction token. So she needs to make a noise roll. 1 is into the technical corridor. And if you remember, there are 2 different colour technical corridors in this game. So for the second action, she is going to play a search card. Now, her scavenger ability lets her draw 1 of each card from all 3 of the decks. And we've got energy charge, chemicals, and the adrenaline. Now, she needs energy charge to activate her personal equipment, and the scientist needs chemicals. but I'm not sure when they're going to be able to meet each other. But I think I'll take the chemicals anyway. Hopefully they can do a trade later on and then activate their personal equipment. So that gets reduced. So I think I'm going to repair that malfunction token, because if the threat level is high, the armory lets you recharge your energy weapon. So we'll play repairs, pay for it with demolition to remove this. And for their second action, they'll make another move. And we found the comms room with a search value of 4. Now the rules state that when you find a door token, you don't activate that exploration token, you instead solve story 3 in the event book. And it says, isolated, some of the malware that infected our systems on Sedna must still be active. We shouldn't trust the ship too much. We have to close all doors leading out of the room that we're in, and place 1 ammo and injury token next to our character. And this represents air being vented from our room, just like in the first mission. We remove the token at the start of the next round. And from my understanding, my round is once I've played 2 cards. So that's the air token. So the scout, I think she's going to make another search action. Seeing as she's in a white room, she can make use of that, draw 1 of each colour. And we've got energy, clothes, and a med kit. So I think she'll take the clothes this time. And for her second action, we'll play basic repairs. And she's going to make a move. Found the nest, and it looks like we're being boxed in as well. So the first thing I'll do actually is make a noise roll for the scientists, because I didn't do that on their turn. So that's her second action. She'll make a noise roll now. 4. So over to the scientist. So it's the scientist's turn, which in the rule book is the start of a new round. And the event book says that we have to move the token at the start of the round. And then it says if the token is gone and your character is still trapped in the room, you suffer 1 light wound at the start of each round. It doesn't say next round, so I'm assuming it's this one. So they suffered 1 light wound, and then they're going to pass because they have no cards left. So over to the pilot. Now she's in the same predicament. So we remove the token. She suffers 1 light wound, but she can continue her turn because she still has 1 card left. So if we play demolition, we can destroy 1 closed door. Now my plan was to get both the scientist and the scout to meet here and trade some items, but because of the doors closing, I'm going to have the scientist open this door on the next turn to get to the generator room. So the scout is going to destroy this door just to give me more options. Okay, so that's the end of that turn. Now 14 turns left. Event card. And we've drawn regeneration. So the adult intruder doesn't move because that shows breeder and a queen. And it says each intruder on the board heals 2 injuries. So we can just ignore that card. Bag development. Blank token. So we need to add a token to the bag. And the scout becomes the first player. So the scout will play rest. She's going to move into the center tile. So we've drawn a danger token, which means we need to add noise tokens to the board. So there's nothing really much she can do. So she's going to play Scavenge. Pay for that with Suppressive Fire. That allows her to perform a search action. And we've drawn Clothes and Military Drugs. And Military Drugs lets us discard any number of cards from hand, even contamination cards, and draw that number +1 back into our hand. I've already got the Clothes, so I will take Military Drugs. So I guess the Scientist takes another light wound, because it says at the start of the round. So they've got 2 light wounds now. So the first thing they have to do is play Computer Skills, which lets me open or close a door in a corridor connected to the room I'm in. So that door will be opened, and then they'll play a rest card to move. We've got the emergency room and the malfunction token. Noise roll, another danger. That's not good because there is a lot of noise and I have to go into that generator room. So the Scout's turn. So the Scout is going to play Reconnaissance, move to the nest, which means that she doesn't have to make a noise roll. She's only able to play 1 action, so she has to pass now. Scientist is going to make a careful movement. And then use blocking access, which lets me use in a room with a computer to use its action without paying the cost. And that means I can now activate Story 6, which hopefully says get rid of noise tokens. And it says there's a string of critical errors as long as you're armed, but the system seems to be booting up. A lot of damage was caused by the hack we suffered on Sedna. Whatever happened on the ship before we woke up wasn't good. Anyway, the bridge should be open now. So the cockpit is now accessible, the doors are open. Event Story 4 goes onto the cockpit. And Events 1 and an on-activation token goes in the room connected to the generator room, which is room 13. And we have a new task where we all have to get to the cockpit. Well, I am happy to get out of that area of the ship. And we resolve Event 4 immediately after all living characters make their way to the cockpit. So I think we are going to have an encounter here. So time track moves to position 13. And we have sparks. So that adult doesn't move again. But we have to place a fire marker in each room with a malfunction marker. So we have a creeper. So there's no noise roll, but we do have to add a breeder to the bag. Okay, Scientist is the first player, so they need to get out of there quick. So they have to move. It's going to cause an encounter because there are noise tokens everywhere, and I have to roll. So interruption to move. That's amazing. Okay, so there's no way I can place noise tokens, so they are safe. I would like to use repairs to remove the malfunction token from that room, but it means that I'll have to stay in there and take another light wound, which will turn into a serious wound. So instead, I'm going to move down to the comms room. I would like to go through this door and meet up at the nest, but this is my second action. So I could open the door, but again I have to stay in that room and take a wound. So that's their 2 actions. Over to the Scout. So they are going to play Demolition to destroy a closed door. Now they have to play an action here. If they do nothing, they have to pass. So I think I'm going to have to take a light wound. Are they going to move? Two. So for the scientist, I need that door open. I'm not going to demolish it in case I need to close it at some point. So I'll use computer skills instead to open it rather than destroy it. And then use demolition to make it move. Actually, I'm not going to move yet because that room has a computer. So the first thing I'm going to do is play risk assessment because I want to see where this intruder moves. So the next event, the adult will move to this room here, which is fine. So it just means that the scout has more options available to her. So I'm going to keep that on top. Okay, the scout. She's going to make a move action down to here. And we have found the engine control room, malfunction marker. Now she's got 2 cards left, quite far ahead of the scientist, so I think she's going to stay there and pass, just in case the scientist needs help. And she'll keep the reconnaissance card and discard adrenaline. Scientist, last card, play demolition, move back to the arm. And 2 is into the blue technical corridor. Okay, event phase, we are on round 12. There's no fire damage to the intruders and they don't attack. We know what the event card is going to be. It's maneuver, so the intruder will move down corridor 3. And all characters draw 1 less action card in the next turn. Intruder bag. We have a lava, so we remove that and replace it with an adult. And the scout becomes the first player. So the scout, I think she's going to search. She can use her scavenging. She has drawn energy charge in the clothes again, so I think she's going to take the energy charge just because maybe some more exploration tokens with the door icon. Gives us a bit more help for being locked in. And her second action, she will play reconnaissance. Move into the end room, which is the shower room. No noise. That's handy. So the scientist, they're going to search. We've got comms key and a grenade. The comms key is pretty useless in co-op, so we'll take the grenade. I think we've had a grenade in most of the games, we've just never used it. So second action, they'll play a search card again, but they'll use that to move into the hibernatorium. Scout has no more cards left, she's passed. So back to the scientist. Play rest. What have we found? Found the canteen. And a door, we've been locked in again. Surely can't be too many of those left. And the only card left is intranet. We haven't got the command center, and I'm also not in a room with a computer, so I can't open or close any doors. Oh, but what I do have is the energy charge, which lets me open or close any one door. So I think I'm going to use that. I'm going to open this one. No, just kidding. This one. That wasn't so bad. So that's the action phase over. So we can go to the event phase. Well, it doesn't matter if that intruder moves because I have a door there anyway. So round 11. Oh, I tell you what I didn't do. Keep forgetting that. There's a noise roll here. Now we can do the event. And we have a royal ceremony. So the adult doesn't move, but it says if the queen is not in play, place her in the nest. And that is all the way up there. So it's okay because she's miles away, but I've got a feeling I've got to get to the airlock control, which is the room just behind her. So I'll have to head over that way at some point. Intruder bag development. A blank again. But I do have to add an adult token to the bag, because that is becoming very heavy with adult tokens. Okay, the scientist now becomes the first player. So I could probably do this without rolling too much noise. Thankfully the scout has reshuffled the deck and redrawn reconnaissance, so that's going to help. So the scientist will play both their search cards to make a careful movement and place this token in corridor 4. For their second action, they will play rest, move into the room with the scout, and they don't have to make a noise roll. So I don't want the scout to pass. So she moves into the cockpit. She won't be able to take another action. So I think her first action, just so she can keep playing, will be search. And that should actually have no searches left. She's going to, instead of using her ability to draw one of each, she's going to choose to draw 2 red. And she has drawn extended magazine and recon drone. Now the recon drone lets us check one unexplored room and room tile, but I've only got 2 left, and that is number 1 and that's number 2, so we can probably work out which is which. And the extended magazine lets me add 2 ammo to my weapon, and I think she had that in the last mission. So she gets to have a capacity of 6 on her rifle, so I'm going to take that one. Then she's going to play reconnaissance, pay for that with search, to move into the cockpit without making a noise roll. Scientist will play demolition to follow her, and now we can look at event 4. Okay, so event 4 just tells the story of how we got here. So it all started 10 years ago, where the Nemesis disappears on the outer fringes, like many ships before it, but this time something was different, where the passengers survived. When they were captured by the corporation, they knew too much to be terminated, but they couldn't ever be set free. So they became a spearhead of a new secret research project, and this was to study the intruders. And it's understood that the intruders are multi-dimensional beings, are capable of being born and develop elsewhere. And the scientists soon discover how to force the creatures to open up these dimensional passages, cheating their metabolism with synthetic hormones. And there's a secret base out in space set up to research this. Each crew member receives 2 backup drone bodies in case they die, where their memories can be synced to these drones. But a critical failure happens, and the bodies of the crew are lost in another dimension, and they fail to synchronize with their drones, so when their drones wake up they have no memories. So now we've realised this. We've also realised that the ship's too damaged to move. We've got a couple of options. We can use a queen to open a portal, or we can escape for a few days in that dimension, which will be a couple of years on Earth, and hopefully then people will forget we exist. Or we can try and flee. So the 2 main options are to escape to the dimension and try and survive there, but I think we'll probably have to try and kill the Queen, and I don't think we've got the firepower for that. We'll try to flee unnoticed in the escape pods when we go to event 11. Regardless, the first thing we have to do is place the Queen in the hibernatorium. And then we need to make a decision to either try and escape to the dimension or use the escape pods. So I think I'm going to try and escape to the dimension. We've come all this way. If it means I have to fight the Queen, so be it. So we have to look at event 10. And this says, go out the airlock to reach the thesis module and return with the molting pheromone. Oh, so we have to go to the other side of the board by the engine rooms, near the nest where the Queen spawned. And we have event 7 and on activation in the airlock. We also need to place one cable in rooms 7, 9, 17 and 21, and these tokens represent research equipment and may be picked up as a free action. The amount of gathered research will also impact on the ending. So 7 and 9 are the evacuation pods. And 17 and 21 are the 2 rooms either side of the engines, so they couldn't be further apart. Okay, so it looks like we have to make our way all the way over there, dodging the Queen and that adult. So if I remember correctly, the scientist still has 1 turn left. So the scientist will play blocking access and make a move. Okay, so the scout has 1 card left, and we'll play that to move, which he doesn't need to make a noise roll. Okay, so we are on round 10, or 10 rounds left. No intruder attack or fire damage. So the intruder moves to corridor 2, which is down here. And place a malfunction marker in the explored room with the lowest number, then shuffle this card back into the event deck. Now I did check the rules because I wasn't sure about this last time. And the cockpit counts as an explored room. Flag development. Noise roll. That was for the scientist, that is very lucky. Right, we need a no noise. No, so there's going to be an encounter. A lava, that's not too bad. 1, she has 1 card remaining, which actually is adrenaline, and she'll keep that. So back over to the player phase. So the scout becomes the first player. Now the only thing is, where we need to head is full of noise tokens and fire markers, as well as malfunction tokens. The first thing that the scout will do is play adrenaline, which lets her perform a shoot action and draw a card. So that's the ammo. So 1 injury is enough to kill a lava. And for the second action, so many noise tokens, there's going to be another encounter. So for the second action, she'll play rest and move. Four. Yeah, another encounter. An adult. She has 3 cards left, and there's 3 on the back, so there's no surprise attack. Now I'm surrounded. Well, I've got no. Play an interruption card to move. Don't need to make a noise roll. I'm then going to play computer skills to shoot. That hits the adult. So I'll put that onto their base. So it's not killed, but it does retreat. So that's really handy. And it retreats down to corridor 3. I think I might have the try and get to the evacuation section A and pick up that piece of equipment. So I'm just going to play demolition. Unfortunately, she doesn't have reconnaissance. As a free action, she can pick up that piece of equipment, and then she'll play interruption to move back out. Now it's the scientist's turn. So I would like them to stop into the cabins. So they're going to play repairs. Move up to the cabins. No noise, excellent. So I would like to stay here and fix that malfunction token, or throw a grenade into the room with the Queen. But that's going to cost me my second action, which means that I'll take fire damage. Also, if you want to know how I painted these, they're pretty simple. You can go to a previous video I've done. I'll put a link to it at the end of this, and it's using contrast paints to paint all the intruders and the character models with the contrast paints, which is a really simple and effective way to do so. So for the next action, they are going to play 2 cards to move into the nest and place a noise token in corridor 3. So she has 1 action left. The scout's not going to move. She's going to stay there. If she moves into the cabin, she's going to take a light wound, which will give her a serious wound. If she stays there and any intruder moves into her room, she's got suppressive fire, so she can move away. So we've got 9 rounds left. No intruder attacks, no fire damage. Ship is looking worse for wear. 2 fire tokens, 4 malfunction tokens, noise all over that area of the board. Straight to the event card. Adults move to corridor 1. So this adult comes off the board, and its token goes into the bag, and the other one goes into the cockpit. Queen doesn't move, and we have to place a noise marker in every corridor connected to every room with an intruder. That's not the worst. Intruder bag. Adult, we have to make a noise roll, starting with the scout. That is a no noise. Now, if only the scientist can do the same. No. An intruder. An adult. 4, we have no cards. So they are going to surprise attack. And we get scratched, which gives us 1 light wound, which is actually a serious wound, because we already have 2 light wounds, which is an arm. It means that I can only use 1 hand slot. We also take a contamination card. Okay, don't really want to take another wound, so I'm going to have to shoot and wait for the scout to come up and meet with the scientist to help out. So the scientist will use repairs to fire. 2 hits, but because they've got a pistol, it only counts as 1. killed. 2 hits again. So that again is just 1 hit. And so to the scout. Oh no, we need to do damage for the intruder. And we've got a retreat. Where does it go? Corridor 2. And that's probably the best option actually, because 4 would have taken it into the path of the scout, and any others would have just caused damage to doors. There you go, not searching. Excellent. So I don't know if the scout needs to get to the airlock control room if the scientist is almost there. So she's going to go a different route and try and collect some of the pieces of equipment needed for the epilogue. So for her first action, she will play 2 cards to make a careful move. And then play demolition to destroy the door. The scientist can play a computer skills, which lets me open or close a door connected to a room I'm in. Second action will be intranet to move. Into the engine room. Scout is going to play scavenging. Going to move. That's not good. Fire token. Ship is literally falling apart. So I do need to move out that area now. So I can either stay there and take a wound, which will be a serious wound, or move down to the evacuation section and there'll be an encounter, in which case I will face an enemy. So I'm going to move. Using suppressive fire. No noise, excellent. Haven't got as many as I did in the last game, but 1's enough. So the scientist has 1 action card left. They will play risk assessment to look at the top card of the event deck, and it's egg protection, where we resolve an encounter for each character in the nest. And so only the queen will move. So okay, I'm going to keep that one. Now go over to the event phase. Okay, no fire damage, no intruder attacks, so we hit round 8. Event card we know is egg protection, so the queen will move down to corridor 2 into the canteen, and we resolve an encounter for each character who's in the nest or is carrying an egg, and that is none of us. Intruder bag development. Blank. That's 3 times I think that's been drawn. The adult to the bag. Okay, so that means we've got 8 rounds left. We've got to activate the airlock, get the thesis module. I'm guessing we then have to use that on the queen. So we're going to call that an end to part 1. Join us again in the next video in part 2. This is Ninja Geek Games. Thanks for watching.